Are you right now making mistakes in regards to the length of your hair that are maybe taking some of the youthful appearance away from you? Should you cut your hair short at a certain age? And if you are gonna cut your hair shorter, is there anything you should be aware of? No worries, I got you. We're gonna answer all those questions today on this incredible hike, and we're gonna start that right now. Well, for me, it's gonna be like 20 minutes of hiking, but for you, it's gonna happen right now. Okay, so there are a lot of concerns, a lot of, I guess, misconceptions, a lot of just random thoughts about going shorter as you hit a certain age. It's a big question I see. It's probably the one with the most controversy wrapped around it, and I'm gonna give you my opinion. There is not an age at which I believe you should cut your hair short, because if you've ever watched any of my videos, you know that I am a strong proponent of the idea that it isn't a length that determines what makes your hair look good on you. It's how you cut the shape inside of that length. Now, with that said, there are a couple things that you do need to be aware of. So my second tip would be to understand why certain stylists or people think that there is a point at which you should cut your hair shorter. And that is typically because the farther your hair gets from the neckline, the less it supports certain kinds of layers. As we age, typically our hair texture will change as well. So what may happen is as you age, you may find that your hair is not getting the volume that it once got. And for you to create that extra volume, you have to layer your hair in a different way, which unfortunately, the longer your hair is, your hair may be a texture that doesn't allow for that kind of layering. Then what happens is you end up with long hair, but not long hair that's shaped well for you. It's just long hair and doesn't really do you any service. Are you following me? You tracking? Okay. Oh, and I don't ever show like what I actually go through to create these videos. The funny thing is, most of the stuff that I show you on these hikes, I want to show you rad views or waterfalls, and I've never really thought to show you guys the kind of behind the scenes of how I actually film these videos by myself out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, if you're at all interested in that, comment below and let me know. Maybe I'll bring a cameraman along with me on my next hike and film the behind the scenes of how all of this stuff actually happens. There's a lot more into it than you might know. Alrighty, well, let's dive back into the tips. So the next tip is just simply taking in consideration your comfort zone. So maybe you listened to the last tip and you said, oh, you know what, maybe I do need to cut my hair shorter. You gotta understand your comfort zone. I will always say, above everything else, if you're not comfortable in a certain haircut, how great it looks on you, how much it emphasizes the things that it's supposed to emphasize is completely irrelevant if you don't feel confident in it. Figure out your comfort zone. How short can you feasibly be comfortable in? Once you determine what your comfort zone is, then we have an idea as to, okay, well, if you did decide to go shorter, how short could you go? And what options do you have in that length? Now, that leads us into the next tip, which is once you do determine your comfort zone, if it is a bit shorter and you do decide I'm gonna move forward and try something in that length range, you have to start looking for photos and start looking for ideas of what you would like, what shapes kind of draw your attention, what do you kind of connect yourself with. And it doesn't have to be a specific style. It could be you like this length, you like the bangs on this one, you like the sides on this one, you don't like this about this one. But what you're trying to do is just kind of figure out a rough idea of directions that you want to head. And then you have to take into consideration, once you have determined kind of a rough shape, is your hair texture going to work with that? If you look at the shorter shapes or the comfort zone that you're willing to go into, and you look at all of the things that you like in that length range, but your hair texture won't work for any of those shapes, it may not be the best option for you. So you want to take into consideration, will your hair texture suit itself well for that determined length? And then we'll move into the next tip. But before I do that, I don't know if you guys can see this, but can you see right there, this divot in the rocks right in front of me here? So this was like an old Indian spirit quest place where they used to come up and spend the night doing spirit quests. And so they used to hang out in there's all these things all over, these little divots all over this area. There's more on the other side behind you. But if you can see those, this, like I said, when the fog clears, is a ridiculous, expansive view of the valley and the water, and it's stunning. I really hope I can show it to you guys. But how kind of cool / mildly creepy almost is that? Kind of dope, right? Okay, so I'm gonna hang out here and let this fog clear so I can show you guys the next tip and show you an incredible view. But if you're new to the channel, welcome. Justin Hickox, it's a pleasure to have you here. I like to share tips, hair tips, things that I've learned over some decades of doing hair to hopefully make your hair a little bit easier. And I like to teach people how to do their hair at home. So yeah, if any of that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Okay, there we go. Now this fog's starting to lift. Yeah, that view's epic. Okay, so at the very end of this, after this next tip, I'm actually gonna share some things that you need to think about if you do decide to go short. Some things that, if I'm honest, I don't really see people talking about, but it's definitely going to weigh in, or it should weigh in, to your decision-making process. So make sure you stick around for that. But for this tip, if you're still on the fence on whether or not you should go short, maybe you want to, but you're just not quite sure, I'll ask you a question that I ask a lot of my clients. And that is, do you tend to pull your hair back? Are you pulling it up and off your face a lot? Now, there's two ways that this can go. If the answer is yes, I pull it back all the time, then my follow-up question is, why? Now, if you're pulling it up a lot because it's just easier to get out of your face, you like the versatility of being able to pull it back, but you also love being able to wear it down, then maybe you don't need to go short. However, if you pull your hair back all the time because you don't like it when it's worn down, or you feel like it's more flattering to your face, right? You feel like it opens you up more. If those are the reasons that you like it pulled back and off your face, then maybe going short could be a good option. Maybe that view doesn't suck. Okay, so let's talk about some concerns. Maybe you're thinking you're ready to go short, but there's some things that you need to pay attention to before you make that call. Some things that, like I said, people aren't really talking about, but you're gonna wanna know. Before I jump into that, I wanna just take a very quick second to say thank you. There are so many of you amazing folks in this community, and I so appreciate all of your support, all of your feedback, all of your just general kindness. Every once in a while, I get a comment like this. And while I know that this is just a sad, unfortunate situation where someone is just unhappy with life and it has nothing to do with me, it always makes it a bit of an easier pill to swallow when I have so many other folks like you out there saying amazing things. So for all of you, thank you very much. Please don't think ever that goes unnoticed, because it definitely does not. Now, what do you need to think about? What do you need to pay attention to before you end up going short? There's this kind of misconception, if you will, that going shorter inherently means less maintenance. And to be completely honest, that's not true. If you're a person like we were talking about before, where you let your hair air dry and then you pull it back into a ponytail, and that's kind of your day-to-day routine, then going shorter may not be actually less maintenance for you. It may be a situation where the shorter style does require some blow dry and styling, and that is more than what you're used to doing right now. On the flip side of that, maybe you're a person that spends a lot of time styling your hair down right now and then you go short. Well, you may find that it's half the hair or whatever to style, and it's much quicker for you. And while we're on the topic of maintenance, let's talk about cutting maintenance. Right now, with longer hair, you may find that you only go into the salon every, say, few months. However, when you go short, you might find that your maintenance to maintain that specific style becomes a lot more intensive, and therefore you find yourself at the salon every 6 to 8 weeks. You definitely want to take into consideration how much more maintenance this is going to give you, and if that's something that you're willing to put the effort towards. Now, I need you to go watch one of these two videos, mainly because I have a pizza problem, a little bit of an addiction. So here's how it works. You watch the video, it supports me, I get to go out, hike more, I get to eat the pizza, and still then make more videos for you that you get to watch. Then I get to hike, then I get to eat the pizza, then you get to watch the video and support the video. Then I get to, see that circle? That's what I call the circle of life. No, but nonetheless, see you next week.